Welcome to our YouTube channel English Studies. In this video we will discuss about Shakespeare's Sonnet 9. Sonnet 9. Is it for fear to wed a widow's eye, that thou consumest thyself in single life? Ah! If thou issueless shalt hap to die, the world will wail thee like a makeless wife. The world will be thy widow and still weep, that thou no form of thee hast left behind, when every private widow well may keep, by children's eyes, her husband's shape in mind. Look what an unthrift in the world doth spend, shifts but his place, for still the world enjoys it. But beauty's waste hath in the world an end, and kept unused the user so destroys it. No love toward others in that bosom sits, that on himself such murderous shame commits. Summary. Sonnet 9 by William Shakespeare addresses the idea of avoiding marriage and remaining childless out of fear of leaving a widow behind. The poet argues that if one dies without children, the world will mourn their absence like a husbandless widow. The sonnet emphasizes the importance of leaving a legacy through offspring, as they allow the memory of a person to live on. The poet contrasts this with the fleeting nature of physical beauty, which diminishes with time. The final couplet suggests that not valuing others and choosing a solitary life is a self-destructive act, akin to committing a form of murderous shame against oneself. Explanation. In Sonnet 9, Is it for fear to wed a widow's eye? The poet addresses the idea of choosing a life of celibacy or avoiding marriage due to the fear of causing grief to a potential widow upon one's death. The sonnet consists of 3 quatrains, 4-line stanzas, followed by a rhymed couplet, 2-line stanza, which is a common structure in Shakespearean sonnets. The first quatrain opens by asking whether the fear of making a widow cry is a valid reason to remain unmarried. The poet questions whether someone would choose to live a solitary life, denying themselves the joys of companionship and parenthood, out of the fear that their death might bring sorrow to a widow. The phrase, "consumest thyself in single life," suggests that remaining single consumes one's own life and potential for offspring. Moving to the second quatrain, the poet presents a scenario where the individual dies without leaving any children behind. The poet predicts that in this case, the world would mourn their absence just as intensely as it would mourn a widow without a husband. The term, makeless wife, refers to a widow who never had a husband, highlighting the importance of leaving behind a legacy through progeny. The poet emphasizes the idea that children serve as a way to carry forward a person's memory and identity. The third quatrain draws a parallel between a widow's ability to keep her husband's memory alive through their children's eyes and the individual's choice to remain childless. The poet suggests that a widow can keep her husband's image and legacy alive through the visual resemblance of their children. In contrast, someone who chooses not to have children will not have a similar continuation of their identity. The concluding rhymed couplet serves as a moral commentary on the choices made. The poet contrasts the behavior of a spendthrift in the world, who may squander their resources but merely shifts locations, with the wastefulness of neglecting one's beauty. While the spendthrift's actions have limited consequences, The squandering of beauty leads to its eventual decay and destruction. The couplet further states that a person who doesn't value others and chooses a selfish, solitary existence commits a form of murderous shame against themselves, implying that such a choice is self-destructive and ultimately harmful. In essence, Sonnet 9 explores the themes of legacy, the importance of procreation, and the impermanence of beauty. The poet argues that avoiding marriage and remaining childless out of fear of causing grief to a hypothetical widow is a short-sighted decision that deprives both oneself and the world of a lasting legacy. The sonnet serves as a reflection on the interconnectedness of human lives and the significance of leaving behind a meaningful impact through relationships and offspring.